So we've got some good news, some stuff that we're going to see that's happening. We have Kamala racing down to the border because there are some polling concerns. The campaign is a little freaked out, so they're going to go down there and try to fix the border. We saw yesterday the battleground states, the swing states, not looking so hot for them. And if it's even close, if it's like a tie, even the Democrats are recognizing that Trump might be far and ahead away. Kamala is going to visit the U.S.-Mexico border while she comes to Arizona on Friday. She's trying to close the gap on the issue of immigration. Now, details of the visit, which CNN first reported yesterday, said campaign officials were weighing going to the border, but it's still being sorted. They can't figure it out. Harris previously visited the border in her capacity as vice president. Yeah, she drove by, did a drive-by, I think. Has cited her work as a U.S. senator and state attorney, but everyone knows she's been in charge of the border. Joe Biden put her in charge. She's wrecked it. CNN reached out to her campaign for comments. Now, the Harris campaign, they remain concerned about a gap in polling, which shows Trump holding a lead on the issue, but they see it as an opportunity to narrow the gap. Friday's visit comes when border crossings are the lowest because it's an election year, and so they're clamping down a little bit. Republicans say that she was the border czar. Yeah, that's what Axios said. That's what the media said. She was in charge of the border, and she was supposed to fix the root causes of the border, but she can't figure out anything. In fact, she thinks that Donald Trump is the vice president or something. This was a strange interaction from her. And this got posted by this guy, Howard Mortman. And I want to share this with you because, look, this guy is a C-SPAN comms director, right? So he works for C-SPAN. Now, look at what he did here in this quote. I would like another debate, says Kamala. So I'm hoping Trump, see that in the parentheticals, will agree to that. We have a lot more to discuss, so let's have another debate. Now, did she say that? Did she say Trump? No, she didn't. And let's listen to what she calls Trump, first of all. She walks over like she's in a Hollywood movie, like she just got out of an airplane, like she's, I don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger in True Lies or something. She comes out. Listen to this. And then I want to share it with the questions. So we'll listen to this exchange because the questions are some of the dumbest questions you could ever possibly imagine. One is, how do you feel about raising so much money? Great question on that one. And then the other one's as idiotic as well. Listen, the who? The who? The former vice president? She debating Mike Pence? Again, what is she talking about? The former vice president. Okay, this is why they don't let her talk to anybody. They're just like, get on the airplane, please, for the love of all that's... Listen. Great question.
Largest since you raised, since you were at the top certificate. That's a lot of money. How are you feeling about that? Because it's showing that there's a lot of support for our message and what we need to do in terms of moving forward and charting a new way forward and sensing with all of this attempts to divide our country. And really, since the problem, I think, on the other side is that there is a devaluation of who the American people are. I'm going to be giving a speech.
Okay, so it's not even a hard question. It's just, can you just tell us about your speech? So dumb.
That is really
like, who are these reporters? Are they interns for the Kamala campaign?
What we can create in terms of opportunities for the American people at named it an opportunity economy. It's really
what?
Short form. It's about
you caused that with your Inflation Reduction Act and all your spending that you signed.
Was the share economy part of this? I will touch on it. Sure. Yes.
Economy.
Join me on the debate stage. Let's have another debate. There's more to talk about, and the voters of America deserve to hear. We should have another one before election day.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you all. Those are the three questions they get. Why did you raise so much money? Tell us about something else you're going to talk about that's coming up. And do you think Trump should debate you again with your rigged debate, with your 3-on-1 dog pile, with your BFF from ABC News? Oh, gosh, that's what we get. And that's what they say is her exchange with the media. She's pathetic. She can't even hardly answer a question. Now, Tim Walz is also catching it. He has been asked about the economy. This guy's going through the litany here. And he's going to say the same thing. It's an opportunity economy that nobody knows what that even means other than she's going to give people tax credits or tax deductions and then call that cash in pocket, cash in hand. And listen, they keep doing this bait and switch. It's so dishonest. But see if you can grab it here.
What is the plan?
Yeah.
The
Don't have
Kamala
one,
Harris,
yeah.
Tim Walz plan to help our community
Yeah.
with everything, gas prices,
What?
food, insurance,
It's all
childcare.
Everything.
What's the plan?
Disaster.
Exactly right. First of all, we know that this community is a critical part of our economy in all aspects, all across it. And I think the one thing Vice President Harris talks about is an opportunity economy. And what that means is everybody gets a shot. Starts out with making sure things like home ownership are more affordable. When you have more houses out there, she's talking about 3 million houses, some down payment assistance, and then talking about those things that we really matter. You're talking about grocery price and things. What we know
You said
is
nothing.
things when you target tax cuts like the child tax credit to the middle class, that cut poverty in half for the community. She wants to make that permanent. That's $6,000 a year. And what that allows you to buy formula, allows you to buy food for your
So
kids.
it's a tax
And then
credit.
I think that idea about those daily things of
So the tax credit's going to allow you to buy formula. So in other words, you don't have to pay the government more money, but they're not giving you $6,000. Right. So how are you going to buy more formula with money that the government is not giving you? So it's money that you've already had that you're not going to give to the government, right? Because it's yours. You're going to get a credit or a deduction, right? However, you don't have to pay that money. So it's $6,000 to the government. That's great. But they're not giving you anything. So you still have to pay for that. The government is just going to steal from you less, which is good.
drug prices and things, making sure that those are capped. But I think the biggest thing is making sure that we're not giving tax cuts to the wealthiest while we cut programs across there. Things like good public schools, investing in, and the child care.
Weird how he's pretty good at saying nothing.
She's proposal out there that you don't pay any more than 7% on child care. It's really difficult for folks to do that.
Yeah, he basically said nothing, and he didn't address any of that. We understand, and he just rattled off a bunch of platitudes that the campaign has programmed into his brain, which is, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's meaningless, and it reminds me of Joe Biden. It reminds me of 1990 Joe Biden. Remember those videos of Joe when he would come out? There'd be like that town hall, all these, we love our senior citizens all out there, all just sitting there listening to Joe, and he'd get in their faces, like screaming at him. Wow, like this guy's like really passionate. And he said a lot of stuff. So I think we should believe him because that's all they had. That's all they had. But now we have a little bit of a closer eye, and he's trying that old Joe Biden playbook, and it just sounds like meaningless platitudes, which is probably why they're struggling there in the polls a bit. Now, we've got some other stories. There was some fun conversation from Janet Jackson. Apparently, she says Kamala Harris is not black. I didn't say it. Janet Jackson did. And Janet Jackson is not walking it back, okay? She said that she heard Vice President Kamala Harris was Indian and not black, apparently. Now, her Sunday apology for recent comments was reportedly not authorized, all right? Someone apologized on her behalf, and she said, I'm not apologizing for nothing. Get out of here. In an interview with The Guardian on Saturday, the 58-year-old singer was asked about her thoughts on Harris potentially being the first black female president. She says, well, what they supposedly said is she's not black. That's what I heard. I heard that she's Indian. Now, that's what she claimed. Kamala Harris she was the first Indian senator and all the things. Now, when the interview argued that Harris was both, hey, I know what she is. She's both. Jackson continued, her father's white. That's what I was told. I haven't watched the news in a few days, but I was told that they discovered her father was white. And then BuzzFeed released a statement on Sunday saying her comments were, quote, based on misinformation rather than her actual thoughts. So then BuzzFeed came out and says, she deeply respects Kamala Harris and her accomplishments as a black and Indian woman, the statement said. Janet apologizes for any confusion caused and acknowledges the importance of accurate representation in public discourse. The statement then continued and said, we appreciate the opportunity to address this and will remain committed to promoting unity. What a garbage statement. However, other reports have disputed the statement, claiming that this guy, El Marcy, doesn't even manage Harris and that the singer is managed by her brother, Randy Jackson. Variety reported, quote, after a confusing turn of events on Sunday, reps for Janet Jackson tell Variety that an unusually worded apology for the singer's ill-informed comments about Kamala's racial background was made by a person who is not the singer's manager, as he had claimed, and thus was not authorized to speak on her behalf. Now, according to this guy who released the statement, is a creative consultant for Jackson, Beyonce, Spears, and Gomez. He's listed as a producer for Janet Jackson and Family First. In The Guardian, Jackson also gave her opinion of whether she believed the country was ready for a woman of color president. Says, I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to answer that because I really truthfully don't know. I think either way it goes, it's going to be mayhem. I think that is accurate. I think there might be mayhem either way it goes, but we'll have to see. Now, it came months after Trump's contentious appearance where he said, I don't know what she is. She was always of Indian heritage, she said, and she was only promoting Indian heritage, said Trump. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago and happened to turn black. And now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know. Is she Indian or is she black? Who knows? Trump was widely criticized for the comments, and Karine threw a temper tantrum on that. That's repulsive and insulting. There's questions, open questions about it. And it's not us saying it, it's Janet Jackson. She's saying it seeing it apparently in her community. It's what she heard out there. There is a reaction to this. Now, AOC says, we got to do something about this. There's too much misinformation out there in the interwebs. And we have to have some censorship. So people can't correct her. They try to correct her and have that conversation, but that is not what they want to have happen. They want to be able to muzzle you at the outset so nobody can even hear what Janet Jackson thinks. Here's AOC having this conversation on the interwebs. 15 million views on this. Woo.
I do think that several members of Congress in some of my discussions have brought up media literacy because that is a part of what happened here. And we're going to have to figure out
what?
How we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. It's one thing to have differing opinions, but it's another thing entirely to say things that are false. And so that's something that we're looking into.
You see what they ultimately want. They just want to control the narratives. They don't like anything that comes out that is bad against their side. And Elon has freed a big swath of the conversation from their control, and they're very unhappy about that.